Hey everybody, good afternoon. It's Alderwoman Maria Hadden here in the 49th Ward. I am just doing a community check-in, getting a lot of questions, concerns, comments to our ward office account. I know there's a lot of activity on social media as well. And so I just want to check in with folks. One, seeing how you're doing. I know we've got a lot of traumatic events happening everywhere. We're in the middle of a pandemic. We've had some really traumatic instances of state violence against Black people. We've got protest demonstrations. We've got increased police force around the community. We are seeing rioting and unrest throughout our neighborhoods. And a lot of you, have been out there in the streets demanding justice. A lot of you have been home trying to social distance and stay safe from the pandemic. A lot of people are watching and have questions, but we're all impacted by what's happening. So I want to first check in with folks, know that I'm thinking of you. Our staff is thinking of you. We're working hard. We're taking care of each other as in addition to being your alderwoman and the staff of the 49th Ward, being city employees that are here to serve you. We're also all Chicagoans. We're neighbors, and we're going through our own changes as we try to process what's happening around us and this moment of strife and stress. With that being said, I want to let you know that we're doing well here in the 49th Ward. I know I posted a brief video earlier just doing a physical check of what our physical infrastructure looked like around the neighborhood. We did have a couple businesses that were broken into and robbed a little bit, but I'll say due to just the extreme combined efforts of local organizers, right? Like One North Side Street Team has been showing up. They are talking to people in the community. They're talking to young folks. They're trying to make space and redirect, what could turn into behavior or plans that could harm some of the physical infrastructure and some of the businesses here in our neighborhood. And so I want to thank Ralph Edwards and his team for being out there, for connecting with our young people, for listening, and for connecting with me. To make sure that I can listen, and we need to be a space, and we need to do better for our youth to provide a future for them. I know that some of the comments we heard from the mayor, from other electeds, from people around the country, is that some people have trouble understanding some of the destruction happening around us, especially by youth, because we want them to think about tomorrow. We want them to think about our communities, their communities. And I want to say that for years, one of the biggest failures that I've seen, not just in our city, but around our country, from government, from leadership, is that we are not engaging our young people. We continue to enforce and reinforce systems that oppress us, oppress them. We've got increased divisions, racially, economically, especially in a city like ours here in Chicago. We have not done enough to support our young people so that they can build their future. And so when you're trying to understand the mindset of why somebody isn't thinking about now, why they aren't thinking about tomorrow, or why they might not directly see the impact of some of their actions, try and think from the perspective of a Chicago youth, a Black Chicago youth, from a neighborhood that's been divested for decades, where no one does anything in your community, where leaders in power focus more on downtown than they do in neighborhoods, where your school system isn't getting the resources that it needs, and where you're over-policed and criminalized your entire life. I would have a really difficult time thinking about tomorrow or feeling like I owed this city my time and my energy. And I just want to, as a alder person, excuse me, choking on food, as an alder person, as an adult, as a person, a resident in this city, and someone who cares about all of our people, I want to do better. I know that you guys are going to help us. And to any young folks who see this, though you're probably not on Facebook, I'll try and share through different platforms. I just want to know, let you guys know that we love you, we care about you, and the leaders in this city are going to do better to make space for you, so that we can build a Chicago with you that represents you. So that wasn't what I planned to say on the live stream today, but I think that's an important message to get out. So we're going to have a lot of healing to do as we move forward. We're going to have a lot of work to do. And so I'm committing to do that work, recommitting with you all, and hope that you'll join me in that, and hoping that we get some young leaders who can guide us. To address a couple concerns about what's happening citywide, what's going on in different neighborhoods in the city. I spent some time checking in with our aldermen on the south and west sides, and whatever your feelings about the means of protest and rioting, whatever your opinions, the impact of some of these actions has left a lot of the built infrastructure of these communities devastated. Fires, destruction of stores, of businesses and commercial properties. I know there are a lot of folks who don't see the property damage as violence. Not here to debate that with you. I will say that a lot of small businesses, a lot of Black-owned businesses were ruined. We're going to have a lot of work to do to support communities in rebuilding. I want to say that, I'm in contact with some of our colleagues to see if there are community orgs that we can connect to help with kind of cleanup and rebuilding. And we're going to have to think strategically. I know a lot of you are providing mutual aid and support to protesters, street medics, supplies. Thank you for doing that work. I want to talk to some of the neighbors here who I've seen wanting to kind of immediately react, whether it's you want to buy masks, you want to organize your own things. I saw some really great conversations and suggestions, and I want to remind people to reach out to existing community organizations. A friend mentioned Brave Space Alliance, Asada's Daughters. If you want to contribute or help or support residents or young people in these communities protesting, those are good ones to check out. And I want to say that we're going to need support for our neighbors in impacted neighborhoods in a longer term. A lot of pharmacies have been destroyed. A lot of food stores, grocery stores have been destroyed. And I'm very concerned, as are some of the leaders in South and West Side communities, about what food access will look like, especially considering that many neighborhoods that were hit already had food access issues. So don't have a solution to that right now. I do want to flag that as something that maybe we should be thinking about, reaching out to community organizations in different neighborhoods. I'll try and reach out and provide connects. May not be for aid today, but it might be the type of aid people need in a couple of days or in a few weeks, where a lot of fantastic mutual aid networks, community response teams have been formed in neighborhoods from Inglewood to Albany Park to Rogers Park. We might have some increased work to consider. So I just want to put that out there. Many of you have shared with me a social media graphic that's been circulating around what seems to be some agitation and trying to move some of the activity to North Side neighborhoods. I don't know how concrete that is. I know that we reached out to a lot of our nonprofit organizations and our small businesses yesterday. We made phone calls, we did emails. Our PBA helped us to just advise them to use caution. So that's the message I have for you today. So if you're a small business, you're a community organization, a religious institution, neighbors in the area, I'm again going to say we're still in a pandemic. Please stay home. Stay home, stay safe. Transportation has still been severely cut via bus or train. It is nearly impossible to get from one side of the city to another. And so think about a plan. If you are going out today, think about how you might need to get home and how you can do it safely. And for our neighborhood, I feel pretty confident that we're doing what we need to do to be cautious. If you're a business or an organization, secure your facility. If you've got valuables, put them in a safe or take them home. Try and take merchandise out of your windows to not be kind of a tempting target. If we do see any of the kind of actions or riots or folks who have been kind of moving in large groups of cars, breaking into places coming north, those are some things I can advise you to do to use caution. And don't be a hero. A few folks have written suggesting that we form some kind of community defense team for things. This is not the time for that. Stay home, stay safe, pay attention to the news, pay attention to your neighbors. Again, I'd say look for community organizations that are, providing support, bail support, supply support, food support. I know we shared earlier that our Rogers Park Community Response Team, we need both phone hotline and delivery volunteers. We're stepping up efforts and working with groups like A Just Harvest, United Church of Rogers Park, Howard Area Community Center, our own food access team. Rogers Park Food Not Bombs is doing their own efforts that we're connecting with to try and provide more food access, given that CPS is not doing grab-and-go meals today. So there's a lot of opportunities where you can help, where you can contribute. And so please check out the newsletters, my page. If you have any questions, we'll connect you in ways that you can support. And I see, Trevor, quick question on that bus crashing into the building. Many of you saw that very dramatic picture of the CTA bus crashing into the building over on Rogers. We did learn that no one was injured. The driver's okay. They were avoiding a car. We'll have more updates on that. But thank you all. Thanks for folks tuning in. Stay safe, stay calm. Take care of your emotional and your mental health, your physical wellness, and please reach out to us at office@49thward.org with questions, concerns. My office is trying to primarily focus on communications as we work to be responsive in this uncertain time. So thank you all. Have a good afternoon.